Join me as I review the Caliray Free Dreaming Skin Tint. This was rated as one of the top products by a lot of beauty influencers last year, and I decided to try it for myself. Okay, so my skin is already prepped with some new skincare that I got from MAC Cosmetics. This is their Hyper Real collection. They launched this in January. I'm not going to review this because I haven't used it long enough to have a good sense of whether or not I like it. So far I do, but we'll do a more in-depth review in a few weeks once I've used this for a while. I also have this Glossier Lavender Balm.com on my lips. So skin is entirely prepped and we're gonna go in with this new Caliray product. First impressions, the packaging is really, really beautiful. Nice and compact. Definitely has given me California vibes. We were just there last month and this makes me wish that I was back on a beach in Santa Monica with our friends Adam and Linda, riding bikes and tricycles with our dog while they were rollerblading in front of us. But alas, here I am in Brooklyn. A couple of things about the brand. They're sustainable, vegan, cruelty-free, and a clean beauty brand. Okay, so the bottle is really cute. It comes in 10 shades. Apparently each shade is supposed to work on a variety of different skin tones, and usually with a thinner or sheerer coverage formula. That tends to be true in my experience. This is shade 2, and they tell you to shake it like you mean it. They literally say that on the back of the bottle. And that you can apply this with your fingers or a brush. So I'm gonna do fingers and a brush so that we can see which application is better. It comes out really quickly, so be careful. You don't want to waste all your product. It's pretty liquidy. You can see it just starting to drip down my hand. I'm going to start off and apply a little bit with a brush. So I've got a stippling brush. This is one of my favorite brushes for all sorts of creamy complexion products, whether it's foundations, tinted moisturizers, cream blushes, cream highlighters. This product definitely has a fragrance to it. It smells like pears, a mixture of sunscreen and pears. I think this shade might be a little bit too light for me. If I could go back, I probably would pick a slightly darker shade. Usually with sheer skin products, I like to go a little bit darker. Basically, you just have a little bit more leeway with shades with a lighter weight complexion product. I'm gonna get a little bit more product. They say that if you need more coverage, just grab a little bit of product and apply it in the area where you need more coverage, which for me is always gonna be around the nose. With a brush, this does not seem very buildable. Seems like it's getting patchy and kind of lifting the underneath layer off. That is not ideal. Let's try it on the other cheek with my fingers and see if it is a little less cakey. Shaking it up again, applying a little bit on my hand. If I was actually applying this on my full face, I would put it in both of my hands and do this business, but because I'm just doing one hand, kind of warming the product up over here, and then we're gonna go in. Way better with the hands so far. Need a little more product. Yeah, I definitely don't like this color. I just feel like it washes me out. Of course, I could use other products like bronzer, contour products, or blush to give myself a little bit of color, but I still prefer my base to have a little bit more of a golden undertone, and this just seems a little light. Okay, so this definitely applies better with fingers. I would absolutely not use a brush to apply this. So I'm gonna take a little bit more. I've got like a little bit of redness here, and I'm seeing how this builds. It just seems to grab a hold of texture. It definitely looks better applied with fingers than with a brush, but it still doesn't look that great when applied with fingers, and I can already tell that if it looks bad now, it's gonna look worse later on in the day. Let's see if I get up closer if you can see any of the texture. Right through here, that's not cute. Right through here. Let's see how this functions if I put a little bit of concealer and an actual powder on my face. I do use a little bit of powder like underneath my eyes. So I'm just gonna tap this on my under eye. Ugh. Seems like these two products are not mixing together very well. You can probably get an idea of how matte this complexion product is by looking at how shiny my under eyes are now in contrast. That concealer is very balmy, very hydrating, and does not have a matte finish. It has a very serumy, moisturizing finish, which some people may or may not like, but at least you can see in contrast how my under eye is reflecting light way more than the rest of my face. And that's because this foundation product, it dries down to a powdery finish. So there's no way around it. It literally looks like I powdered the shit out of my face. And I don't use face powder. I mean, I do use a tiny bit. I usually use a tiny bit under my eyes, around my nose, but I really prefer a dewy finish. I like the way my concealer looks. You know how I was saying this smells like pears earlier? On the back of the bottle, it says prickly pear hydration, which means it must have a pear derivative and it smells like pears. But like a chemically pear. It smells like sunscreen and pears mixed together, but there's no sunscreen in this. Final thoughts on the Caliray. So I did the rest of my makeup so that I could film the intro for this video, and it definitely looks better when I apply creamy products over the top of it. I have a cream blush on, my creamy concealer that you saw me apply, and I also just doused my face in Fix Plus. This is a hydrating spray from MAC. I basically use this whenever anything looks too makeup-y or if my skin feels dry. So what I will say about this, I really like the way that it feels. Ironically, it feels hydrating but looks dry as it has a really powdery finish. So I didn't particularly like that about this formula. It does apply better with fingers than with a brush, so I would definitely recommend using your fingers. I think that if you have really oily skin or if you have really smooth skin without a lot of surface texture, you might really like this. But for me, for my dry surface textured face, I just can't handle it. I really, really, really wanted to like this because I like the packaging and I like how compact it is. It's beautiful, it feels nice, and it is sustainable. This is 100% recycled and this is like 74% recycled, I think. Don't quote me on that. It's on Sephora's website and I'm sure their website too. But you know, I can't justify spending $40 on a product that I like the packaging of and don't like how the actual product functions. So I will be taking this back to Sephora and getting my money back. I didn't want to. I'm sorry, Sephora. I'm sorry, Caliray. I really wanted to keep it. I did, but alas, here we are. That is my review. It's not my favorite product. Doesn't mean that it won't work for you or for somebody else, but for me, it just didn't work. That's it. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you liked this, of course, and I hope to see you next time.